Welcome, and my name is Kimberly Yannick. I'm with the Center on PBIS, and I work primarily with the Mid-Atlantic and Southeastern region for PBIS and school behavioral health. And today we have Daisy Jimenez and Rita Burks, who are with the Dual Language Academy of the Monterey Peninsula out in California. And they're going to present on the TFI 1.3 school-wide expectations. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
All right, you want to switch the slide?
Thank you,
Introduce
Kimberly.
yourself.
Ah, all right. I am Daisy Jimenez. I am a kindergarten teacher, part of our instructional leadership team, and the PBIS lead at our school. Excited to be here with you guys all and presenting.
Hi, and I'm Rita Burks. I'm the principal here at the Dual Language Academy. I've been in education 20 years, 10 years here at the school. We are a dual immersion school, so we are a 90-10 model, meaning our students begin with 90% of their day taught in Spanish, 10% in English, and as they go up in grades, they get more English. About fifth grade, they get half the day in each language. We are fortunate to be a preschool through eighth grade school. And in addition, we have what's called a newcomer program. We house newcomers who have Spanish as their primary language, and they are new to the United States 3 years or less that we're able to support through our program.
Ah, this is fun because I'm clicking. Okay, we're presenting on the TFI 1.3, so school-wide expectations. This has been really our work with revamping our school-wide expectations and using student voice, community voice, and really pulling in data so that we can revamp our old um, school-wide expectations and then really align across grade levels, making sure that we're getting voice from everybody so that we are able to adjust them and really having our students feel more comfortable with them, and feel seen, heard, and just having something more coherence across our school. Currently, and then really adding our social emotional behavior into it so that it aligns with our second step curriculum that we use at our district so that it doesn't feel like two separate things. So that's been the work that we will get into, but that's been our focus for our TFI 1.3.
And so our why did we decide to do this? We have a quote from Daisy up top. We've got these beautiful school-wide matrix posters. They've been posted up top in every classroom in English and in Spanish, but yet we never got to use them. And they're in small print. So really being able to use that matrix as a learning and instructional tool is going to help us increase instruction and standardize academic routines. It gives kids the predictability and the environment they need. Our newcomers and a lot of our families are coming with trauma, and so it's a solid trauma-informed practice. By co-designing the matrix now, we're giving our students, our staff, and even our families voice and agency to give us their cultural perspective and really develop ownership on what we'd like our matrix to look like. Having a strong matrix is going to give us foundation we need for our tier 2 and 3 supports. And then overall, our staff was asking to be refreshed for us to like kind of review it and refresh what we were doing with the matrix. At DLAMP, we value that behavior is addressed through support and reflection and restoration. So we're always trying to figure out what the behavior is and how we can really get our students to learn from it. Student, staff, and community voice has been heard, and it's really a focus. Another part of our school is that we are part of a community schools grant, so a 5-year grant that we have, and through the community schools grant, a big key push is to not do school for families and students, but figure out what it is that they need and us to support them. And then last, just the staff feeling safe and supported and equipped to do the work. So as a principal, my goal is really to bridge that whatever it is our staff needs so that they can do the work and support our kiddos. And knowing that we need to really touch on their basic skills, right? Their social emotional skills before we can even get to academics. And so this work, what we began with was we're looking at the matrix, looking at the data. Where was it? What areas were we needing more support in? We gathered data through what's called EduClimber and Synergy online platforms. And so our staff was able to look at that data and determine what areas we really wanted to focus in on. We had our teachers look at the matrix, look at the language, look at our social emotional curriculum and see how can we align these areas. For an example, we integrated kindness. That was something that across all areas in our school, we really want to make sure and push and support. And then we had students engage in the same process, not only uh, students, but students in some key groups. We have a middle school leadership class. We currently have two LGBTQ programs, a Rainbow Club for our fourth through sixth graders, and then our seventh, eighth grade club as well. I have what's called an anti-bullying coach through some community partnerships, and she's able to have like mini clubs during their recess time. And so the anti-bullying club wanted to get their feedback, as well as our newcomers. They have a social emotional group once a week. And so getting them to look at the language, explain it, understand it, hearing different perspectives. In this slide, you'll see like the handwritten notes. This is what our students understood and wanted us to change on the matrix. And then I do principal cafecitos, our school site council meetings, and brought the same exact sections of the rubric to families, because what we might consider kind, respectful, responsible in school may slightly look different at different families, just because of cultural differences. And so all that feedback has helped us to dig into what we want our new matrix to look like.
So the bulk of our work with the matrix has been using our past matrix, looking at that, and then how can we revamp it using our student voice, student data, the U-Truth, and really seeing what it is. So then we decided to change. We had all these areas, classroom, playground, cafeteria, hallway, restroom, and a lot of these things have a lot of the same expectations. So then we just decided an all settings area where a lot of these do overlap, keeping the respectful, responsible, safe, and then like Rita mentioned, adding kind. So then that also aligns with our second step curriculum with those lessons that are being taught in the classrooms, and then also just makes it so it's another step, another layer added, that it's also one of our school-wide matrix's expectation, so that students are just revisiting these ideas. It's like, hey, remember when we learned about how to share? This is also something that you're going to be doing at your whole time and expectation while we're at DLAMP. Um, so then we can see that there's a couple differences. A lot of the feedback from students has been right? Like things that we knew, like, oh, they're like, add visuals. And we're like, yeah, we're working on that one. But I got a lot of feedback around even the bathroom, which I know was something that came up a lot during our youth truth feedback as well. They're like, we want cleaner bathrooms. And so a lot of their rules or the ways that they switched was like adding more student-friendly language. So even they thought like what we came up with as teachers was not as student-friendly. So that was really great because when we did present to them about how to give us feedback, it was like, think about the span of our students. We are a preschool all the way to eighth graders. We want to make sure that everybody can understand this, right? So essentially, if you are a sixth grader, what you understand might not be exactly what the kindergartner understands because of the language. So then they really thought and were thoughtful about this. And that's why they were also like, hey, these kindergartners can't read. We're like, you're right. They're like, so what would we need to do? They're like, oh, well, if you added a visual here, it might be helpful for them to better understand it. It was like, yeah, great. Um, so then it was just getting a lot of this feedback. So now our work goes into how can we draft this and continue to, is that our next one? Yeah. Continue with our draft, revise it, and then work with our PBIS team refining, getting teaching staff and then again students to look at it before we finalize it one last time and then hopefully have it ready to roll out for the 26-27 school year. And then just having creating lesson plans that hopefully our leadership team can help us support with so that I'd also be able to roll it out with teachers and students so that we're ready to go for next year with our new matrix.
All right. So the impact that we've seen so far is that the behavior matrix now is not going to be just a poster on the wall, but actually a tool that teachers are going to be able to refer to. Definitely at the beginning of the year, after breaks when we need a reset, and then just throughout the school year, whenever any kind of event or maybe a conflict, confrontation comes up, they're able to support it. Students are going to really understand it better. It's going to have clear alignment across our grade levels. And then the school expectations for students kind of build off of each other. So what they learn in kinder build on first, second, third, all the way up through the grades.
And then when we think of our TFI self-assessment, I would say currently we're at about a 3. Just we do know that our staff knows, and a lot of this is similar to our old one, but with a couple of tweaks. I think it's just having that very explicit social emotional behavior curriculum behind it that we need to, again, like relearn because it's something that we're adding. And then, but also it's something that's aligned already to things we are doing as a staff. So then it's just being implemented now into our behavior matrix. So it's not something new. It's just something that's now also implemented into our matrix in addition so that it aligns across and we're all working on it together.
All right. So if you're getting started, a big point is using the data, figuring out what social emotional behaviors are happening, where the locations are, and what is it, the skill that you're going to want our students to learn. And start with what you have and go from there. So small and build off of it. If you already have a matrix and you want to get better, I'd say create an action plan. Like how the big thing was, how are we going to capture and reflect the different student and family voices, the choices, school-wide, classroom matrices, and get collective feedback. That's probably the most difficult once you collect the very just time consuming, but then being able to look at that feedback and see where do you see patterns so that you can refine based on everybody's viewpoint. And then again, looking across data at different groups, and then considering having GSA and other groups you have provide that kind of feedback so that you're getting different perspectives, right? Different students experience school life in different ways. So being much more of an inquisitive and trying to learn from our students versus assuming we know what our students need.
Righty. We're open, ready for questions.